Hey there, everyone. It's Rachel here, and I would love to introduce you today to my dear friend, Fawn Gilmore Kraut. She is a women's relationship empowerment coach, but more importantly, she's one of my dearest friends. Fawn and I met many years ago, around 2014-15, when I was in a business development program, and we were both there with the intention to learn more about how to grow our businesses. And Fawn is one of those people who you're just immediately at ease with. She has such a gentle, warm, comforting nature, which is absolutely one of the reasons why she does the work that she does. She has deep, deep love for women and women getting what they want in their lives, particularly when it comes to their love life. And so it's been such a joy over these years watching Fawn really grow and excel and find her way forward. And I wanted to come together and have a conversation with Fawn today because she is about to do something really badass, something really, really cool. You know, she's been working as a relationship coach for many, many years, but something that's been really calling her is to turn her attention to supporting women in breaking free from religious bullshit. And so we're going to talk about that, and Fawn's going to tell you more about her journey and about the work that she's now doing in this area and about a really wonderful opportunity. If you are struggling in this area of your life and looking for some freedom where you can work with her and get some support, mentorship, and guidance in how to overcome the limitations that happen when we're really stuck in all that gets put on us because of religion. So Fawn, welcome. Thanks so much for taking the time to be here.
Thanks, Rachel. It's so always just amazing to be with you and to hang out with you. And I love all the work that you do in the world. And most of all, I just love our friendship and how we've supported each other over the years. And yeah, I'm excited to be here.
So Fawn, introduce yourself to my community. Tell them a little bit about your journey and how you've arrived at this place where you are today to really be leaning into this work that you're going to be doing.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, I'll give you a short answer for that. Yeah, I was raised in a very religious home, evangelical Christian, non-denominational. Well, first of all, Southern Baptist, and then non-denominational and missionaries. We traveled around the world as a family. My dad is a speaker and a leader in a big missions organization, and then got involved in politics and very applies his religious beliefs in the political world still. So I grew up in a home and in faith community there was a whole, I was under a lot of teaching and guidance for how to be in the world, who I am, a sense, as a young Baptist, I would respond to every altar call and go up, I got saved over and over again, just in case it didn't stick last time. And, had a real deep sense of God and a deep sense of connection in my faith with the universe, with the Creator. That's just core to who I am, and it gives me a real sense of value and love and purpose. But also what was mixed in with all of that was this set of rules that came through my own family, as well as then deeply reinforced in my church community, that I just, of course, as children, we just absorb all of that, right? And I absorbed all of that. I just, I was so wanting to be the good little Christian girl and the good, woman of God and all the things that I just would follow the path and follow the rules. And so I ended up in my 20s and then in my 30s really finding a hard time having a healthy relationship. I was terrified of divorce because, of course, I was told God hates divorce. So if I were to actually find someone to marry, it'd be permanent and I'd be stuck, and my worst nightmare was to get married and wake up and discover, he's a monster, and then I'm stuck because there's no way out. So that was like all in there. And purity culture, some of your audience might be familiar with that, the idea of, that a girl is pure as a virgin and you're supposed to save yourself for marriage. And there's stories of youth pastors passing around a rose, and everybody plucks off and handles it, and then he's like, who would want this, with the idea of a girl or woman, young woman being sexually active now is not valuable to her future husband. And a lot of shaming that went on around that. And it still goes on. And so, also, of course, sexual abuse. I, like many of us, and I think most of your audience, have experienced, and yet nowhere to talk about that, nobody to talk to about that. The shame is on the woman. What was she wearing? What were you doing? Why were you in that situation? Versus really having someone that can come into your rescue and protect you. And so all of that was going on with me unconsciously, and it made it impossible for me to really have a healthy relationship or to find someone. Oh, and you have to find a Christian man from the church who, fits all the boxes, checks all the boxes. And it's like, forget it. They're just there, it just got harder and harder, So, I have to say, I'm going to tell you next week, my husband and I are celebrating our 20-year wedding anniversary. So I did actually find love and learned a lot about making a relationship work. But it wasn't until I had done quite a bit of work to unpack some of the assumptions that I had grown up with and open up new possibilities and give myself permission to doubt and to question and to re-examine my core belief systems that were keeping me stuck. And so, eventually I was a teacher, and then I went into coaches training and got some really great education and trained myself in becoming a coach, and really started working with single women who were also stuck, whether they were from religious backgrounds or not, but really helping them. And I've worked for years now helping women overcome their own limitations, get out of their own way, and open up their heart to really finding and creating real, lasting, vibrant love in their life. But recently, like you asked, I've been really digging deep because I'm seeing it over and over and over. It's really coming up right now, I think, in today's political climate. A lot of people in religious communities are beginning to step back. A lot of young people, everybody. I mean, they're beginning to step back and look at how church and politics have gotten meshed, and they're kind of asking, like, what happened to my core faith? They're bumping up against this purity culture. They're beginning to question. There's more and more support. There's social media groups, that are springing up to dismantle and unpack that religious bullshit that they've carried around, assuming it was true because it came down from these authority structures. And so we're starting to see it, but then the question is like, okay, now what do I do with that? How can I navigate myself into healthy relationships and sift out what's really true for me as far as, you know, who is God and what do I believe? What's really my own core belief versus what have I just taken on that other people have put on me? And it's such a deep individual journey that we're on, but I'm excited about like opening the door for people to really set themselves free, to really stand in confidence in their own core value, their own faith, whatever that looks like for them, and to create a life that is free and beautiful and filled with love. So
Well,
that's
cheers
my
to
mission
that.
in the world.
Yes, definitely. Cheers to that. Wow, thank you for sharing, a little bit about your journey and the things that you were up against, in growing up. We will, Fawn and I a little while ago did a conversation where I talked a little bit about my own journey, and we have a lot in common, in that way of just trying to navigate, trying to find, answers, trying to find some answers, but
Yeah,
also having like these models in our lives that were really suffocating who we were and holding us back, and the limitations of who we thought we could be and what we thought could be possible. I remember I was in a, abusive relationship for 10 years. And one of the things that really held me there was that, do not divorce, you're going to hell kind of
right,
thing. Right. And that's
right.
really dangerous at the end of the day. And so um, I just love that everything that you've experienced and that you've journeyed through has led you to this place in your life where you want to walk alongside people to really help them understand how their love life is really being impacted by perhaps these, religious constructs. And so I want to get into that a little bit and maybe just bullet point a few things here. Like when people are struggling in their love life, they often, bring it back to things like inability to trust, lack of intimacy, fear of abandonment, and certainly those things can be up and going on. But I love bringing in this additional piece. So could you talk with us a little bit about what people might not even know is happening or is related to religion or being held back in that way?
Yeah, I think um, like all the things you named are like we all go through in some form, and especially if there's been abuse, or whatever, there's, that lack of trust or that, all those things. But then I think some of the religion pieces, what you start to experience, what I've seen that women experience is there can be you might just have a fear of being in a relationship. Like I said, like I'm so afraid of divorce that I'm afraid to even get married. I'm afraid to open my heart or to trust anyone. That comes up. The whole purity culture, like I have all this desire, I have, like natural, healthy sexuality, but no place to express it.
Mm.
Um, Without shame on top of it. And so there's a lot you may experience shame in your relationships. Perhaps you are sexually active with a partner with, whatever, multiple partners, but in there you're not able to really experience joy and pleasure because there's this shame. Oh my gosh, God is going to punish me. I'm bad. I'm evil. I'm used. I'm worthless. So that then totally impacts your relationships and your ability to really be free and to establish real connection. um, it can show up, like you say, like staying in abusive relationships because you're afraid of breaking it up. You're afraid of divorce. You're afraid of being judged or shamed by your religious community. Um, for me, another one was this patriarchal idea that was huge for me with my family and reinforced in church was this: there's God, and then there's the dad, and then under him is the mom, this authority structure, and then there's the children, but even that, it's the boy, the brother, and then the sister, because the brother can go out and sow his wild oats and live his life and, you know, charge into the world, and the girl has to stay under her father's authority until he hands her off in her wedding to her husband, and now she's under his authority. And I grew up with that. It was very deeply reinforced in my family, and then also in church structure, you know. And then you've got the pastor in there somewhere, and, you know, like even asking the question, who do I obey first, my dad as an adult woman in her 30s, my dad or my pastor? Like, why am I even asking that question? And so then it comes into, how do it's like I don't trust my own self to make decisions about relationships because I have to have someone else tell me what to do. So those are some of the things that you may experience that can impact your, you know, ability to have healthy relationships. I'm sorry, I'm muting my phone. Okay.
Yeah, right on. So, okay, I hear you 100% there. And you start to notice that, okay, we've got, you know, we're having experiences in our life, and we're noticing that that there's an inkling, there's a sense of questioning that's starting to happen. I wonder if this structure, this religious structure that I've been maybe raised in, or maybe, you know, drawn into by even being in relationship with someone, however you got there, this structure of religion, it feels like maybe there's something not working here. Maybe there's something that, even though I'm being told this is the way it's supposed to be, I'm questioning that. I'm wondering. And at the same time, I don't want to lose my faith, right? I believe in God. I have a deep connection to spirit or universe, or however you might even call it. And so how do we begin to unravel? And, you know, what are some of the steps? And this is just a preview, because I know in your program, this is where you're going to really get into the nitty gritty.
Right.
But if you were to give people kind of like maybe the top 2 or 3 things that to begin thinking about of how do we deconstruct religion without losing our faith?
Right. Yeah, it's a great question. Well, for me, what I've done and what I do in my program is help. First of all, we've got to identify our beliefs. I mean, and this is true regardless of religion or not. It's like our actions, our life is really a reflection of our own belief system, conscious or unconscious. We make decisions based on what we believe or what we value. And our decisions get us into or keep us in, you know, having the life that we have. So part of it is taking some responsibility and looking at like specifically what's working and what's not working in my life. And then from that, what's not working, like we ask the question, what was I thinking? You know, breaking it down and getting down into the nitty gritty and identifying what that core belief is and where did that come from. And then when you realize how that belief is impacting you, then you really get to question, is that really true? And just being curious and exploring, is it really true? I believed this, it was taught to me, but is it really true? Because here's the impact that it has on my life. And then we start to see, okay, when I really take a look at that impact and how very often the impact of that belief is so opposite to my core belief in a loving God. Like, really? Is that what God had in mind?
Can you give us an example of that? Can you give us does anything come to mind?
Well, yeah, okay. So we were taught in church, in youth group, that masturbation is a sin. Just put that out there. Like,
Let's go
okay,
there, Fawn. Okay.
yeah.
Let's
I
do it.
mean,
Yes. There.
pleasuring yourself is a
Yeah.
sin,
Right.
because somehow you're robbing your future partner of that experience or
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And you'll be shamed if you do it. So, and yet, okay, so the impact of that is so many, I'm going to say mostly women, but men as well, I'm sure, but like, are so afraid of even exploring their own body and exploring their own pleasure, and then they save themselves for marriage, and then suddenly they get into a wedding night, and they have
Mm.
no idea,
Yeah. No
w-
connection.
no connection to their own body, to their pleasure, to ask for what they want, what they need, because they don't know what it is. And and the and yet the reality is we're also taught that we are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're taught that our bodies are, like, we're made in the image of God. We are perfect in how we're made, and everything about us is right and good. And so there's a disconnect there,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
that's an example.
Right. Awesome. And so I think there was a next piece there that you wanted to add
Yeah,
before I jumped in.
sure. So yeah, identifying the belief, questioning, is it true? And then stepping back and really allowing ourselves to really, really look at the prices that we have paid and that others have paid for our agreement with that belief, our how we've acquiesced to that, aligned ourselves with a belief. And we begin to look at our life and look at the prices. And what that brings up is grief and sorrow and perhaps some anger. That it goes, it's a process, and rage, potentially. For me, it's rage, as I began to look at the prices that I paid and that I made other people pay. And when I was fed some lies that aren't true, and how it disconnected me from God and from my source and from myself. So we create a space, and it's healthy and good to express your emotions, to get in touch with those emotions, because what that does, and as you allow those to process through you, you come to the other side, and it helps you separate yourself. It helps you grieve and lay to rest that belief that you've carried along that in some way gave you a sense of security, but has sabotaged your life.
Mm.
So we
Yeah.
grieve,
Yeah.
we mourn,
Wow.
and then we come out the other side and go, okay, what is my truth?
Mm.
What is actually true? And then what is my stand in the world? Um, who perhaps, who do I, what, there may be some conversations that need to happen with others if necessary, maybe not, but maybe just for myself in order to renegotiate those relationships. Like for me, I had to have a really serious conversation with my parents, and it was terrifying to me.
Mm. Yeah.
But I was surprised and really pleased that they heard me
Mm.
and like set me free. My dad actually said, I release you.
Wow.
Go live your own life. And acknowledged how he had held me with this patriarchal structure. And not everybody gets that,
Mm.
and he's still stuck there, I'm going to say,
Yeah.
but I'm breaking free, and the people I work with are breaking free. And as we take a stand in the world, I believe it's our opportunity to help others,
Yeah.
to shift this. So that's the journey, because then new possibilities open up, new relationships open up, new
Yeah.
fulfillment and power and confidence.
Yeah.
And suddenly we can start to see our faith, God, the universe, whatever, in a whole new light, because it's not through the lens of
Mm.
religion, but
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
from the core of our soul.
So I'm going to put you a little on the spot here because that gets me a little curious. Like, what is maybe like what you might say is like a myth or belief about God or faith or religion, and what would you offer is like the new possibility or the new frame or opportunity?
Okay. Yeah, good, thanks. So, gosh, there's so many. So going along with like what we talked about as far as sexually and the shame that comes on if you have sex or if you're empowered, I mean, like
Yeah,
experiencing your sexuality, if you take that shame off of it, if the old belief is
sex is bad.
sex is
It's
bad
for America
outside of
only.
marriage, right?
Yeah.
If the new belief is God created me to own, I have full agency over my body.
Mhm.
I get to choose. Sex is good and beautiful and wonderful. And I get to choose when and how and where I want to experience that. And I'm, I can, it's like God is smiling on me in all of it.
I don't know how I
Right.
feel about God watching me while I'm having sex. I'm not sure about
I
that.
just, I know,
But I feel you, right? I mean,
right?
yeah, ultimately, so I love this because when we think about, the program that you're, developing, I think in so many ways it's like a myth buster program. It's like,
Yeah.
here are the things that you've bought into, here are the things that you've been told, but let's take a closer look at that. Does the Bible really say that? Does
Hmm.
that really line up with what we think of when we conceptualize this idea of an all-loving, God creator? And so to start filtering it through and challenging it, and that's not for everybody. Some people, you're completely fine and content with exactly where you are. So if that's you, you can shut this off, stop listening, go on your way, and
Absolutely.
be fine, be happy,
Yeah.
be content. But if
Uh-huh.
there is something in you that's like there's this needling feeling like there's something not working here, I feel limited, I feel held back, I don't feel like I'm getting to express myself fully on a spiritual level, and that I feel like I'm being, limited by the mindsets and the beliefs that are there, that have been put on, and you want to break free of those, then working with Fawn is a really great next step to get some structure, to get some context, and to be working with people who are not there to who are not there to bash religion or
Right.
bash God, or I there's a word that's not coming to mind. I went through a real kind of process of coming out of faith completely, and it was like almost like a deconversion. And
Right.
then, but we aren't here to deconvert anybody, right? We're not trying
Right.
to take anything away. We're really just, I think you're just really in the space of wanting to expand. So can you talk a little bit about your upcoming program and what people can expect from it, and the investment?
Sure. So the program is it's called Setting Yourself Free from Religious Bullshit Without Losing Your Faith. And it's a 7-week journey with a small group, no more than 12 women. Or, yeah, right now it's for women. And we'll meet once a week on a Zoom call together, as well as we use Marco Polo and do a little video group with each other in between, and you have and I'm going to take you along this journey that I just described as a group. So we establish some really clear guidelines as people, so that participants, so that we create a safe space, no judgment zone, a way to explore. We're all in a different place on this journey. And so the work is very individual because each of us has our own story. So, but the awesomeness about this is that you're in a tight group of women who get you and who support you, and we support each other through this process. So I'm going to be giving you guidance, instruction, every step of the way. We take our time and we just go through it gently through this process all the way. So by the end of the 7 weeks, you have really declared your stand on what is your truth, and you've unpacked and released yourself from some of the religious bullshit you've been hanging on to. Okay. What you do with your faith coming out of that, of course, is entirely up to you, but it will be yours. So, like you say, I'm not here to, I'm not about trashing religion, and this is for people of any faith, whether it's, of course, I come from evangelical Christian, but some of the religious bullshit is actually universal to all religions. So we welcome people from all different faith backgrounds. So the investment is $297 for the full 7 weeks. I've tried to keep the price really low so that it's open and available for the maximum number of people to really step in to this. And I'm happy to have, a quick one-on-one conversation with anyone who has questions and wants to talk to me about it before signing up. I'm totally happy to do that. Or they can go to my website and just read more about it and sign up right there and jump into the next course.
Awesome. So you all are going to go over to viragolove.com to learn more about this program, and you can sign up and register right there. And you can also reach out to Fawn personally if you have further questions about the program. Mm-hmm. And I really encourage you all to take advantage of this opportunity. If this is an area in your life, it comes up all the time when I'm working with my clients. Certainly for my clients who, in the context of their trauma, it was in the church, which is very, very common. That adds another layer, of course. But as we, are healing and looking at the impact of sexual trauma, and the belief systems that have come about as a result of that, we often start to just get curious about a lot of different areas of our lives, and religion, faith can be one of them. And so if this has been resonating with you, if you're hearing yourself in Fawn's story and in the things that she's brought up as far as where you might be struggling, then reach out to her, explore this opportunity, and get into action to get some support and clear all of that junk. So yes, you can be free of the bullshit, mm-hmm. and you can really be in full expression of your most empowered, most aligned self. Fawn, I love you so much. And I, just knowing you, I absolutely know that everyone who has the opportunity to work with you in this is going to have just such a great time, feel so loved and supported and cared for, and really be nurtured towards whatever they need. So thank you for taking the time to come and share yourself with us. Do you have any final thoughts for folks listening today?
I would just say, I want to say, thank you so much, Rachel. I mean, it's just always such a joy to talk to you, and I love you. I love your community and all these brave, courageous people who come together to face, some really hard things and get healing and, get set free. So, I just want to say, don't give up. If you're feeling stuck, if you're overwhelmed, or feel like there's no hope, don't give up. Reach out for support. You have Rachel here, who's just a beacon of light in this world, and I'm here too. So, there's support for you. So thanks so
Right.
much.
That's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you everybody for listening. Again, reach out if you have any questions. And Fawn, have a great rest of your day. I love you, honey.
I love you
And
too,
I'll
Rachel.
see you again soon.
Okay.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.